Do you want to be average? Do you want to be above average? Do you want to stand out? I mean, are you in this game just to have a fight, or are you in this game to become the champion? It's time.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Men's Collective Podcast, the place where real men have the real conversations without the noise, without the excuses, and without pretending that we have it all figured out. And welcome to 2026. Wayne Taylor here, and I'm joined by the few of the average Joes. And fellas, welcome back to 2026. Feels weird to be behind the mic. It's been a while.
Feels a bit snug in here.
A bit squishy today. It is. We're all here. I'll do a bit of a surprise and get all the fellas on if you aren't watching.
Is that all from the Christmas lunch, or is it just because it's three of you?
Yeah, a bit of both.
We're squishy because of Christmas holidays, but also for obviously. Yeah, but listen, if you're only listening and you can't see us, I've got all the boys here today because of the topic. Thought we'd kick off the year with all of us here. Welcome back,
Mate, how was everyone's break? Who had a break?
Not this cowboy.
Jamie's all the way through. Stevo, what'd you get up to?
Yeah, mate, just chilling at home with the fam, couple of weeks off. That's good.
Yeah,
Chrisso?
same here. Yeah, no, didn't go anywhere. We fortunate enough to live in a place where we don't need to leave for a holiday, so we just hung out with the family, stayed home, and
Nice one.
enjoyed some home time.
Mikey, what'd you get up to?
Mate, I crossed the border into
You
Victoria.
went down. Yeah.
Pretty rough, eh? They're different down there.
They're very different down there, especially since COVID. We introduced a whole new species of people.
Yeah, there was a
down
few of those conversations. It was good.
Mate, I went to Japan, which was unreal. But in saying that, though, as much as I love Japan, it was my third trip there. Absolutely love it. But hearing you guys say you just stayed at home and relaxed, that's my idea of a holiday. That's what I want to do. I said to Lisa this time, I just want to have a year. Because you're right, we live in a place that people want to come here for a holiday. And we're leaving to go to bloody snow, mate. I went there and I was freezing my ring off. Absolutely frozen to just.
And then they threw you off the slopes for not wearing clothes.
Then they're like, mate, put some clothes on.
That's small even for an Asian.
So yeah, look, next year I'm here, I'm locked in. I want to be here. So, well, good to have you back. Well, let's get right into it. Let's go over to Jamie for Ask Us Anything.
Okay, so first question we got here is, hey fellas, I'm a big believer in discipline and standards for myself, but behind the scenes, I've got habits I'd be embarrassed to say out loud. Nothing illegal, just enough to keep me stuck and feel like shit. I know I'm not being authentic. I wouldn't mind some advice. What do you think, boys?
Sounds actually like you, Jamie. Did you write this in? Yeah,
Everyone's got habits.
It's Stevo. You start with you, buddy. What are your thoughts? It's
I always start with
toughie.
me.
It would have been nice if you had to spill the beans a bit more.
Yeah, you can't. Well,
like,
do we just
what
call
are
it
his
out? When we know what it is. We think we know what you're doing, buddy.
Getting into an intervention pretty quickly. If you need help, man, just reach out.
Let it go.
No, look, I think you can have discipline and standards and still be dropping short of them. I don't think just because you have them doesn't mean you meet them all the time. I think we're all on that journey. The important thing is you have discipline, you have standards, but have some grace and give yourself permission that you're not always going to be perfect in that journey. Even being accountable to dropping short is the first step in actually then picking up some of those gap areas to build it up. But if you don't have standards, you don't even know where you're falling from. So I think it's important to have them, but don't kill yourself over, as in like don't beat yourself up over the fact that you're not living perfectly to them. Otherwise, it's actually worse than having no standards, is constantly judging yourself for it. So I would say keep them, reassess maybe where they are, and then just get some help to move 1% closer every day. And eventually these will be habits, not just standards you're aiming for.
Yeah, spot on, mate.
Does that work for you, Jamie? Is that?
You take a note, Jamie.
I am.
That wasn't even written down, that question. That was just...
Yeah, I think Jamie
wanted to
didn't
say
read
something, guys.
I'm glad you're all here. Chris, any thoughts, buddy?
Oh, look, yeah, everyone's got habits. Just depends on whether they're good ones or bad ones. I guess the bad ones, he's saying he's embarrassed by, and I guess he's got to take some action and stand up to it and see where he can sort of improve in his life. And it's not easy. Habits are hard to break, but you've got to have a clear plan on how you're going to move forward and facilitate that plan.
Mikey?
Yeah, mate, the fact that he knows about them and they're embarrassed, you've kind of got the first step right. You know it's there, it's not right. So We were talking a few months ago about neuro-linguistic pathways with one of our
with
clients.
Dr. Trish. Yeah.
So I'd say that's probably a good episode to go back and listen to, because that really changing those habits is more about changing your environment and all sorts. So
100%.
yeah, there's plenty in the content.
There's also a good book, and I've actually read it. It's called Atomic Habits.
Yes.
And it just gets a greater understanding on how habits work in like from a mental point of view, like neurological point of view. So it's really important to understand how habits are formed and how to get out of them. So it's a good book to read if you want to.
That's a good point. Well, when I saw this question come in from Jamie, no, but when I first read it, I went straight in the line of what Steve was saying. I think if for someone to write a question like this and to say, look, I'm a big believer in standards and, having discipline for myself, the moment you say that, you then instantly have not a threshold, like benchmark of knowing where you fall short. A lot of people don't even have that. A lot of blokes don't even have, well, I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know if I'm, falling short of and this is going to be great for today's topic in goals and stuff. But I think that's the key. The fact that you've got discipline and standards already for yourself. I'm not going to say lower those, but I think habits, we're learning, I think you guys have, I'm just going to be repeating what you guys said. We're learning so much lately about, the neurological, what are they called? Cognitive brain, is it CBT? Cognitive brain therapy, where you learn to retrain your brain. I think any man struggling with anything, regardless of what it is, what I'm learning a lot about lately is, training your brain to create a different pattern that has a response to either something you've believed in the past about yourself, a trauma of some sort, whatever, because all these habits, all these actions that we do as men come from an experience or a belief or whatever it is. And it does come down to these, training yourself into new habits. So, but it's not, I think a lot of it's also not strength too. You can't just go in cold turkey. I mean, there are people out there, mate, I've seen them do it, fantastic. But I think that's where you find yourself beating yourself up. If you go cold turkey and then fail, have no direct plan, no decisive plan of action to get yourself out of making this habit, the whole cold turkey approach, you are going to beat yourself up constantly. But I think, if you plan it out and just learn to train your brain better, but the Atomic Habits, I've not read that book, but I've heard a lot about it.
It's about the triggers. There's triggers in habits, like what triggers that, whatever the habit is, you've got to find out what that trigger is.
Yeah,
and retrain your brain.
So
when your brain sees that trigger, automatically it thinks, "Oh, I'm going to have a drink, or I'm going to do this." You need to rewire your brain with those triggers.
I did read a book many years ago called Who Switched Off My Brain, Dr. Caroline Leaf. Yeah, amazing book, but it's the same kind of thing about how like a tree branches off and then the branch has like vines and like just how the moment you come back here to the trunk, the moment you give your brain that permission to go off this way, all of a sudden you've patterned off left and right, and then all of a sudden you're over there. And to try and come back, you can't. You've got to come back to the main source and retrain that whole new branch to go somewhere else. And it's.
I'll just add in one thing too, but I love that last line. I said, I know I'm not being authentic. I would challenge that and say he's being absolutely authentic.
That's a good thought.
Because you're authentic in owning and taking responsibility for where you're at. And that's authenticity 101.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
don't beat yourself up. The other thing is it's so easy to form our identity off our achievements. And again, looking at this, I don't know if it's a younger man, older man, but just not sort of formulating your worth, self-worth off what you're not getting and thinking you're less than. I just love this guy to think, hey, you are the most authentic person by recognizing that you're not where you want to be. So it doesn't make you less disciplined, less standard, less authentic. I actually would say, mate, own who you are. I think you're well on the right track, and just not beat yourself up so much about where you think you should be.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the biggest demotivators to actually starting is just thinking, I'm not who I'm supposed to be. I would just put all that aside and say, I am being authentic. I do have standards. And as you said, Chris, like, what does it take to start working towards them?
Yeah.
He's on the right track.
Yeah.
He's probably more ahead than most people are.
I think actually spot on. I actually didn't even pick up on that last part, but I think you're bang on. The fact that he's written in this question to say I'm not being authentic, no, this actually proves you're being authentic. This is you peeling back the layer.
This is what authenticity sounds like.
Exactly.
I have standards, but I'm not meeting them.
Yeah.
That's authentic, bro. Like,
so that's
celebrate
really
that.
No, easy.
Yeah. Look, another important part in that book that Chris was talking about is he talks about that your success doesn't relate to the level of goals you have, but it relates to the level and application of your habits that you have there on a day-to-day basis. So, and I think that, you know, we're going into goals today. Having goals is a really, really good point. It's like it gives you a sense of direction, but it's what we do on a day-to-day basis, that improving 1% every single day that actually gets you there. So, and, you know, compounding interest is one of the most powerful things in the universe. So, you know, if we can, I think one of the issues there is that, you know, he is doing the right things, but sometimes a lot of people have imposter syndrome where they think they're projecting or they're showing something, but deep inside that they don't. And this is why doing work on actually your identity and working out who you are or who you want to be, and actually sort of like focusing on that. And, you know, as David Goggins says, have that conversation with the man in the mirror, is that this is who I am and this is where I am now. So
he's extreme though. Have you seen any other stuff?
Super extreme.
We throw his name out there, but no one wants to be Goggins.
No,
that's a horrific lifestyle. Jesse Itzler wrote a book called I Live with a Seal for 30 days, and he actually paid David Goggins to live with him and train him for 30 days. Insane book. It's a really easy read, bit of colouring in, lots of pictures. But you look at it, you go, that guy was a psycho. Yeah. Yes, he's done what he's done, but no one wants to be Goggins.
Yeah. But it doesn't.
The ideal is there, but I was like, man,
doesn't take away from the accountability for yourself.
Yeah.
Like actually having that conversation. I think that's one of the important conversations that you have. You know, where if you are lacking in an area of your life, sometimes you've actually got to go, no, actually, you have to improve this area. And, you know, stop saying that it's going to be okay. Stop putting your head in the sand and actually go, you know, stop being a pussy, you know, if we have to beat that out. But it's like, you don't have to go that extreme, but sometimes we have to have those honest conversations with ourselves, or your friends have to have those honest conversations with you as well too. But by the sounds of it, you know, this guy is doing well and he has recognized that sort of stuff. But if you want to improve on it, just focus on the progress of actually slowly improving over time, and don't beat yourself up when you fall off the wagon. Because what happens every now and then, you know, you're carrying too much stuff and you will fall off the wagon. And it's just part of our growth and part of your journey, you know.
Just thank God our wagon's parked at Sunny Coast. It's not a bad fall.
Fall off and just roll out. My wagon's always parked at the front of like a donut shop or something. Fall out.
Oh, you jump out. That's a difference. That's a big difference.
I throw myself out. No.
It's called drive-through.
No. Righto. Thanks for that, mate. That was Ask Us Anything. Righto, Mikey, over to you, buddy, for Out and About.
Guys, the barbecue, we're back. It's 2 weeks in, and it started off a little bit slow, just building up the year, just kind of getting the wheels moving. But you know how every week you turn up and do something, and then you keep going, you're always watching, getting on with it, and then the one time you look away, something magical happens. That happened yesterday, didn't it, Wayne?
Did you look at you talking about the incident?
Yeah, I am talking about it.
Please tell the story. I heard this yesterday.
For the first time ever, a sausage was thrown at Wayne and he didn't catch it. Mate, tell us. I literally, because I just turned around, stopped serving someone, and Wayne's standing there looking a little bit mucky. And he's like,
certainly was.
Someone threw a sausage at me.
I'll tell you the story.
Tell the world,
obviously,
mate.
You know, Mike and I, we do get kind of a mixed bunch of people turn up to our our community feed. And look, the purpose behind it obviously is originally how it started, and we'll talk about this during the week, that people are doing it tough, and we want it to be, I guess, that one meal a week, not so much the answer to everything, but just contribute to our community. So we started this free barbecue, and we're there for the people. And we've had incidences, there's no doubt about it. We've had people damage stuff, and we've had fights. We've had knives, had that knife pulled on us that time when I dropped that bloke home. But yeah, it was interesting on Thursday that I'm sitting down there, I was having a chat with one of the guys, and he's doing a bit tough. And had a bit of a chat with him anyway. It's just him and I, so he gets up and walks off. So now I'm just sitting there by myself. And this young girl, she would have been probably 28. And you can tell right away that, again, you see the kind of people that turn up. She'd had some struggles. And she was on some kind of drug, very, very high. and just stormed right over to me. And she'd only taken one bite. So she's got the big bread roll, big sausage in it, covered in onions and sauce. And she's taken a bite. And she's staring at my face right in front of me. She'd be about a metre away. I said, "Guys, I said, you having a good week?" And she's just like this big, heavy breathing, looking at me, and then didn't say a word, and then sat down next to me. And then, so I thought, okay, I'll just play this one cool. That's it. So she takes another bite, and then starts yelling and screaming at me. And I'm like, we're both sitting down. And she's like a metre and a half to my left. And so I'm like, then she stops. I said, "Guys, look, doesn't sound like you're having a good week." And she stands up again and then just leans right in my face, takes this deep breath, and then just leans back, just pegs this bread roll with the sausage and onion and sauce right on my face. Like, it just exploded. And I was even saying to Steve yesterday, so I'm driving home and I'm flicking the back of my shirt, like, because I was covered in, like, I had busted up bread roll. And look, and here's the thing, like, you laugh about it because I don't know how she got in this situation. You don't know what she's on. You don't know, and we're there for that. I mean, it's you take it. It was just funny because
you got to see the funny side of it, though.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I'd come into Mike and said, "Mate, I just had a sausage thrown at me." He's like, "Oh, you catch it with your mouth." But interesting.
All you hear is Mike is just going, "Sausage fight!"
That's all
down on
Mike
everyone.
We should.
He's been waiting 2.5 years for this moment.
Yeah, look, I'm just glad we didn't do bolognese last week. It would have been
hot and a bit more messy, but yeah, look.
It's good, mate. She'll be back next Thursday.
Oh,
Big smile on her face. How you doing?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Wear a bib next week.
Yeah. Wear a mask.
Nah, it was good. It's really good.
It was good.
And we got some shirts coming. We had
the shirts. We wrapped the shirts just before Christmas, didn't we? We've got a couple out there now. This shirt fed somebody.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a shame it doesn't really suit us as well as some of the other guys, does it?
Yeah, it's true. Oh, you're an idiot. But so in saying that, we do have the shirts coming. Mike and I and a couple of other people have them already. It does say this shirt fed someone. They will be online very soon. You can buy it for $50, and 100% of those proceeds go towards our community feed that we put on every week. So buy the shirt. It'll be out very, very soon on the website there. So food trailer, mate. Give us some update on the food trailer.
Mate, we've got some big news coming up. But look, fundraising's been going really well. We've got a nice little bit in the kitty. And what am I allowed to say here? How far can we go?
Not yet. Let's just say it's coming. Let's get it first, and then just give it away.
That's it. Yeah. Wayne's just got to do one or two more favours, and then we're good to.
You're an idiot.
Hey, haven't you missed this?
Oh yeah, I've been really missing this, mate. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I know. I have to pay the editing bill as of January.
But we do have some big news coming on the food trailer very soon, which is going to be great. Really, really good.
Yes, pumped, mate. I'm excited.
Look, the meetups are back in full swing. All the meetups are back. We've had a couple of changes to times and venue changes, but check the website for that. But all the meetups are back, which has been great. I popped into the Budger and Wonder in the week, and a great bunch of fellas. Really good to see. Actually, I don't even know, to be honest. I don't even know if any of the groups actually closed down over the break. It's just that we, I guess, officially had the break, but all the meetups kept going. So, which is, I guess, a testament in itself that the guys love meeting together, which is really, really good. So back in full swing. So details on the Brendar one's definitely changed. But one thing I'll say that Steve and I had a chat during the week. A lot of big things coming this year that we're going to put into planning stage and to kick it off. But if you do have any interest in starting one of our Average Joe's meetups this year, reach out to us. Jump on the website. There's a link right on the very first page. Just follow us through. It connects you to me. We'll have a bit of a chat. And if you fit that role perfectly for us, we'll have the chat even further and we'll get you set up. But big news coming for that, which is really good. Alrighty, over to the week that was.
So we've missed a lot here, haven't we, Wayne? Had a few weeks holiday and it's all go. So maybe we'll start off with the biggest one, which was the Bondi terror attacks. So couple of extremist Muslim guys basically massacred a heap of Jews down in Sydney. And but it definitely wasn't race-related or...
Yeah, definitely not.
Nothing to do with radical Islam, according to our wonderful Prime Minister, soon-to-be ex-Prime Minister.
You said something there that I want to say, and I think this is where it needs to be said, and this is where I think our government falls short. And when that terror attack happened in Bondi, obviously it went right around the world, and the world still now is watching our response to this. What are we doing? And we'll lead on to those stupid things that Albo did, but you said something just there that I think needs to be made very, very clear. These were two Muslim men that did this. They weren't extremists that happened to be Muslim. They were extremists because they were Muslim.
Yep.
And this is where I think the defining line in the sand needs to be made, is that the reason they acted out this way is because they have these Islamic beliefs that make you, make myself, make everybody listening to this their enemy. This is how this is played out. And we sugarcoat it, we avoid it, we try not to step on toes when we announce it this way, but it's the truth.
Yep.
They are this way because of this was their belief. That's what needs to be stamped out. And then you fast forward to how our amazing, switched on, phenomenal Prime Minister reacts in response to this. I love Australia. No, actually, I loved Australia. I'm so disappointed in who we are as a nation now. It's because we've been led by an absolute pelican, which probably puts me in jail now, does it?
Well, I'll go to jail.
Edit that out.
I'll go to
the
jail with
second
you.
point,
But
right?
there's a saying I always live by, but leaders who refuse to be questioned always go down doing questionable things, right? And this is Albo one-on-one. Even the fact that a royal commission was shut down, an extensive look into how this happened, why this happened, the systems in place that failed this for it to happen. It was called out by the families of the victims. Everyone was calling for it. Not only was it shut down, but then they found a way to even minimise that process within their scope to make it as minimal as possible and quiet as possible because they know that they failed. And instead of having a royal commission and being out in public and being authentic and owning that mistake, they shut it down in every way possible and it just tried to distract everyone from actually what was happening. And that is a picture of our government right now. There's no accountability. There's no wisdom. There's no anything in there. And when things do hit the fan, they just quickly change rooms and find a new fan. And it's ridiculous. But on the way here this morning, I saw a couple of flags hanging off the bridge on the freeway on the Sunshine Coast. And who knows who put them up there. But a part of me just went, yes, like this is Australia. I do love this country. But that's why we need to speak out, because we love it. Too many people sit passive, sit quiet, and just expect that it'll work itself out. This stuff doesn't work itself out. It's got to be worked out, and it takes a voice. It takes people to stand up, have an opinion, and be authentic about who they are. So I'll sit in the cell next to you, mate. Just tell my wife to bring me cookies.
I think one of the things is that I really think that it's the Muslims themselves who need to hold these people accountable. Do you know what I mean? That peer accountability
hold them
and
accountable
standards
to their own belief.
But what they did what their religion says to do.
As in some cases, right? But do we practice everything that's said in the Old Testament?
No, for a reason.
For a reason, correct. So, and it's the same process with the Quran as well too. They're the ones that should be holding the people that take it to the extreme, to that level. Like Christianity has different things where it's like, okay, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. But we've come together as a collective and went, well, that was said in a different way when you don't take that in the literal terms.
Yeah,
correct?
but the premise of Christianity is love people and serve people. That's the commandment.
Yeah.
That's what Christianity is based on.
Correct, yeah.
What's
but
the
what
Quran
I said
based on?
Is what I said just then not true.
Yeah, I would, mate. I don't want to call you out on this on air, but yeah, I don't think that's true.
Okay, eye for an eye.
Yeah, but that's again. These aren't instructions. If you call yourself a Christian and you believe the faith of Christ, those aren't instructions to go, oh, this is what Christ is telling us to do. Or if not, it's the peeling back of, okay, if you want to go down this path, do you see what this actually exposes? And then you go, oh wow, you're actually right. This isn't how it's going to work. For then that message to go, right, so let me show you what this is what we mean by this.
Yeah, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? So, but there's things in the book, right, that we as a collective have come together and went, well, it's not meant in that sense. It's meant in a different sense. Correct? Yeah.
If you want to go, Old Covenant, not to go down that path because it's going to go a religious podcast.
Yeah.
Pastor Wayne.
But
Mum can fight.
But my point.
So can someone grab a Bible?
But my point with that is that the way that they came across was because Christians went, this is the way that we should operate. And when they saw other Christians behaving in that way, then they kept them accountable and actually sort of straightened them out. Does that make sense?
It
You
doesn't
don't think
to me.
so?
No.
No?
Where did
Look,
they
I,
act?
no.
This,
I will
this
say,
was-
I think you're right. I think other Muslims should hold them accountable.
100%.
I think what the scary thing is, though, what did we see around? There certainly was some Muslims that called them out.
Yeah.
But there was also a group that was having parties after that. They were fireworks and they were cheering and carrying on,
Well, this is my
which
concern.
is even more scary, right? Because going back, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was working in a warehouse in Wembley, and everyone in the warehouse was from various different Muslim cultures. There was about 50 guys in the warehouse. And I remember back when it was, obviously back in 9/11, there was only a radio in the warehouse, and it was up on the corner, up on one of the shelves. And mate, when the first plane hit, they did an announcement. This is breaking news. Everyone stopped and looking around, and there was this. It was almost like there was some excitement. When the second plane hit, they were cheering, hugging, high-fiving, and it was the most unnerving experience. And these were awesome guys that we would sit down in the tea break in the tea room and have a chat with, and they were perfectly respectful and polite. But when something like that happened, they were all cheering. So fast forward to Bondi, it just read the same. Hey, when you see these guys carrying on, and look, not all of them are like that. I know that, but there is a fairly large chunk that seem to be quite comfortable with this stuff happening, and that's the
but
scary thing.
If you say, not all of them are like that, I then look at those that aren't like that, and I go, well, you're actually not doing what your Quran and your belief is telling you to do. So if anything, it's these extremists that should be holding the weak ones accountable, going, our book actually says these people are apostates, these people they're our enemy, these people need to be.
But that's
killed.
that's what they're doing. That's what these preachers are doing, right?
Yeah, but that's my point. So it's I don't know, man. I think we are still tiptoeing around it too much, hoping for a nice settlement. This is an advancement. You're from the UK, dude. You look at the UK now because of what has been allowed to cross the border into the backyards of what used to be a world-leading country. And now you can't walk down the street without big gongs going off and calls to prayer, and the streets packed with Muslim men bowing down facing east at 5 times a day. Why? Because they let it come in and they do what they literally set out and planned to do, which is outbreed the population, bring in a law that makes you the enemy, and then they take over.
I tell you what, the goat's tender though.
Yeah, I think well, now you got me thinking about barbecue. I think what a huge issue is when I won't even use the word extremism, but when religion sits in opposition to culture, constitution. I'm not going to say culture, but constitution and laws. That's where we get this divisive thing happening. Because if you look at, if you turn the tables, you had Christians took over the world, and there's, Pentecostal music everywhere and all this sort of stuff. Still, it sits within the constitution and laws of the land. But when it's separate and sits above it, and people think they don't have to abide by what's in place, whatever the country is, and they're above the law because of their religion, this is where I see things starting to get really crazy, is they feel like there's no need to conform to anything that's legal because their religion sits above it. And many other religions talk about peace and actually working with those things. And this is where it gets crazy, is we're not addressing when things go outside the law as a country. You look at the Constitution, you step out of that, it's addressed, right? And there's consequences of it. And they've got their own way of dealing with those consequences. We just don't. We just go, oh, look, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to, call someone out. I don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. I know what you're doing is highly illegal, but it's in the face of religion. So we're just going to leave it go and just encourage you to do the right thing.
Yep.
We have laws and things for a reason. And if anything sits above that and we can't call it out, we're in trouble.
And
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it's those people that are seeing that thing, it's the Muslims that are around them that should be calling that out.
I'm not saying Muslims calling Muslims out. I'm saying the government is not doing there's laws in place that have been literally not tiptoed over, but jumped over at a massive rate, and no one has called anything out. And now we see this happening and go, how did this happen? We all know how it happened.
yeah,
And if you
that's
sit
who
above
they're
the
blaming,
law,
right? Yeah.
if you sit above the law, there should be. I mean, you mentioned eye for an eye. That wasn't a first strike thing. That was, if you've stepped out and done something wrong, there should be a consequence for what you're doing. That's what an eye for an eye means. It's not an excuse to go out or a permission to go out and do whatever you want to do. That's not eye for an eye. So there should be consequences put in place. And the fact is they haven't been, but only for one select group of people, because everyone's too afraid to call it.
Yeah. I was going to say, religion is a very touchy subject, right? And they say never argue about one of two things. Don't argue about religion and don't argue about politics. And right now, Australia as a country is in the thick of the most messed up combination of both of those, because we've been under attack because of a religious outburst, and now the political party is failing to. So we can't avoid this, right? But this is the point I want to make. You look at the vast. Let's look at the main religions across the world very, very quickly, right? Let's look at Hinduism. I've never been. I know Hinduism exists. I know that countries like India and all that kind of stuff, it's rampant. Now, if I choose not to be Hindu, I'm not pressured by anyone. No one cares. I'm not being bombarded by Indian people. Not a problem at all. Buddhists, I think of monks in silence in caves and stuff. Fantastic. They want to bring that kind of peace. I know people convert to Buddhism because they want that. It brings peace and calm. Hey, look, okay. For me, I was not brought up a Christian. It wasn't a thing brought up in my home. It was a choice I made because when the message of Jesus was brought to me, I responded to it because I believed it. It made a massive impact and change in my life. So I believe it 100%. Do I want that message to be brought to other people? 100% I do. It's been my core of my life. Why? Not because I want you to be like me, but I want you to feel the things I've felt, experience the things I've experienced, so that if within you can go, you know what, I find this to be true. Fantastic. I'm glad you do, because what an amazing thing that brings so much more of it. You look at Islam. Islam has they give you two choices. This is how Islam works. They give you an option to convert. If you say no, they give you a second option, which is to pay the tax, which is like 80% of your income or something like that. You pay, what do they call it?
Jizya or something.
Yeah, So, jizya. So, do you want to convert to Islam? No. Right. That means now you get another chance. If you say no again, you pay the tax. If you say no to the tax, we kill you. That's how Islam is set up. And this is what no one's going over. This has come into the country we live in. It's attacked us already. Our government is doing nothing about it other than saying, let's create a law that says you can't say you don't like somebody and you'll go to prison for 15 years if you say it. Nothing is addressing the problem. And this is what's happening. We can turn a blind eye to what's happening politically. We can turn a blind eye to what's happened religiously, but it's here. It's taken over the UK. It's taking over Australia. We have a weak leadership doing nothing about it. And it's one thing to sit here and say, I'll carry it about a day. You can't carry out about your day now anymore. You just can't. It's here and nothing's been done about it. This is the religion that's coming after what we have. Parades behind religion of peace. It masquerades as that's what it is. It has one agenda, to take you down. That's what it is.
Mate,
Okay.
It's nice to have someone else say something that needs to be edited. So, but what? Okay,
what's your thoughts on vegans?
Oh, they're worse.
Don't get me started.
All I can say is imagine a world without religion. It'd be peaceful.
Well, yeah, a lot of wars and a lot of fights happen because of it. And it's, again, they're standing up for their belief, which is, that I don't mind. I don't mind people standing up for their beliefs. I stand up for mine. But when your belief has a forefront attacking motion, okay, we can't live in defense mode now, because you play any video game. You can stand there and defend the whole game, but your energy still goes down through defense just by copping hits. And we are not even, we're taking the hits, not even trying to guard it. We're going, yeah, look, kill our people, kill the Jews off a bridge. Okay, what do we do about this? Jack all. Okay, yeah, so...
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? For the last 18 months leading into this, we've had the Free Palestine movement running around, waving banners, saying death to the Jews, gas the Jews, kill the Jews. Then someone actually does it. Who do we blame? We blame gun owners. And, yeah, the things that have come out from this now is we've had a guy who wasn't a citizen, who was on an ASIO watch list, who was associated with people on the ASIO watch list, had 6 guns, and apparently it's legal gun owners are the problem, and we're now going to restrict guns even more. And who else have they blamed? They blamed, we're trying to get rid of anti-Semitism. We're going to blame Nazis. Yeah, because Nazis did it. The Muslim Nazis did it. Like, go figure. So, and like you say, now we're on to the hate speech laws. So effectively, what we've just said here would potentially land us all in prison. That's wild.
Oh,
On a lighter note, though.
On a lighter note,
Trump. How good's Trump? Hey?
Mate.
That read like a story, hey, going into Venezuela and
Yeah.
taking the president there. That is
It's I don't even know how to explain what happened.
My wife's always looking at this sort of stuff. She's like, "Hey, they reckon he's got dementia, and they're finding him in all weird places, just staring at walls and stuff. And they're gonna because he's 80 years old, and they think he's got dementia, and they're trying to look like they're trying to manage his last bit of tenure without going crazy. So who knows? I mean, there's got to be a lot of comments, a lot of theories and stuff out there.
They took his wife as well.
But it's crazy that he already had conversations with oil companies before going in. Like this was preemptive because there's 130 billion barrels of oil. Yeah, and he's like, hey, we're going. So, by the way, we'll kind of just take over you guys for a bit. Hey, I heard you've got oil. The company's already drilling.
But it is worth noting that at the night that happened, that day, the Venezuelan president was actually meeting with Chinese officials, which would only be one thing. Like this, remember, he is a dictator, right? Like you look at all of the Venezuelan people that were celebrating around the world when that happened, because he has almost bankrupted the country with more mineral resources than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not going to learn from Iraq 20 years, and the moment they step out, it is straight away taken back over by Taliban with all the stuff they left there to run it. It doesn't matter how long they stay in and run Venezuela. They're set up
so they should
to
keep
not
it,
run.
is what we're saying.
Well, they should move it to Greenland when they get that, and then just keep consolidating. There's going to be 59 states of America soon.
Look, I quite like America, so the thought that there'd be a bit more over there, it's just another place to visit, right?
But it's crazy on a world stage to watch it play out and go, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But
it's going to be a wild year, boys.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we are in just unprecedented times. We're living in a time that is just bizarre. Very, very bizarre. Well, thanks for the month that was, mate.
so goals, hey?
My goals is to build a bunker. Yeah.
You haven't done one already?
I've got a few. No, you don't need a bunker when you got what I've got, mate.
I never do have to edit. Righto, let's go over to man versus machine. Righto, fellas, this is the part of the show where I ask a question. I ask you the question. I ask ChatGPT, aka Chad, the same question. We compare the answers. Righto, are you ready? Question: why do men cling to roles even after those roles stop giving them meaning? I'm going to get your responses, and I'll tell you what ChatGPT said to the same question. Why do men cling to roles even though those roles stop giving them meaning?
They still give us purpose.
Why do men cling to roles even after those roles stop giving us meaning?
What do you mean by roles? I'm not like
Bread rolls. I would say
like
status.
as in a title, as work, as in
Yeah, those kind of things. Like a role. Like I carry a
role.
role as a man in society. I carry a role at home as a husband. I carry a role at home as a father. We carry certain roles. Provider.
I would go with status. Even if it stopped giving you meaning, if it gave you status at one point, I think we cling to them
To keep a status or to gain a status?
to keep some form of status. Like, oh, I used to be a CEO. Well, if you're not anymore, why are you still saying it? Like you moved on something else. But I keep that role. I keep identifying that role. It's not a part of me anymore. There's no meaning in it. But it's the status of I was this. I did this. I've kept that. And I think somewhere there's a lack of identity in us that we want to cling to status, even though it doesn't keep meaning anymore. Even if it was a bad role, but if it was one that gave us status, I think that's deep down why we do it, is we feel it gives us a sense of being better than what we think we are.
Interesting. Chrisso, thoughts, mate?
Tough question. Oh, man. Blokes just don't like giving up on things, do they? So
Very true.
They've got a role. They've had a role for a long time. So be it. They're hanging on to it. If there's an issue or there's something that's standing in their way, they're just going to keep hanging on to it until they figure out a way to work it out, I guess. I don't know. That's a hard question to answer, to be honest.
That's a cool perspective, though. I like that.
Well, we are built to do stuff, though, right? Like we're designed to achieve or even just tend the garden, as it were. So we cling to stuff because it's what we're designed to do. I mean, you should put it down and move to something else that's more appealing, but you don't. You just keep going. Sometimes you just got to put the blinkers on and keep going for it. Like where my father-in-law at the moment, he's starting to get a bit of dementia going on. He's in his mid-80s. In the last year, he had to move out of his house because we had to renovate the whole thing because it had flooded and big story. But he was then left basically just couch surfing with family whilst this all happened, and he didn't have a house to look after. He didn't have the garden to fix all the stuff. His mental health in the last 10 months has declined so much, like just from not having something to do.
Purpose, wow.
Like I think if we did just give up on everything and didn't find something else, I think it would be the end of us, mate.
Good thoughts. Right, you want to hear what Chad said? Oh, sorry. Go for it.
It stumped me a little bit, because there's so many different variables. But I think that sometimes maybe the guys are just going through the motions and they're not actually logically thinking about what they want to achieve and go through, or potentially they're just blindsided where it's because we do a lot of things for other people too. So sometimes you think you're doing something for someone, but it actually means nothing to them. So you're really doing it for nothing as well too. So I think just having that logical mindset of pushing out of that comfort zone, they're not focusing on their goals and where they want to go and what they want to be. They're just stuck in that comfort zone and just doing the same shit every day. So
Good thoughts, righto. We'll ask Chad the same question. Why do men cling to roles even after those roles stop giving them meaning? This is what Chad said. Men cling to roles because roles reduce uncertainty. A role answers three questions for a man. Who am I? What am I for? What am I worth? When meaning fades, the role still provides structure, and structure feels safer than the unknown. Modern men are rarely taught how to rebuild identity. They are taught how to endure, so they maintain function instead of seeking meaning. They preserve output instead of confronting emptiness. This is not a weakness. It is conditioning. A man will stay in a role long after it dies because the cost of losing identity feels greater than the cost of losing meaning. Deep.
What did I think we were going to say?
This is what Chad predicted. So Chad thought that you would answer it this way. I reckon the panel will land somewhere like this. Men hold on to roles because they're familiar. Husband, provider, worker, the strong one, the reliable one. Those roles once gave direction. They gave identity. They told us where we fit. Letting go of them feels risky because without the role, a man has to face who he is underneath it. There's also pride in it. Men don't like to admit something that once mattered no longer does. So we stay. We perform the role even when it's empty. Not because we're lazy, but because we don't know what to replace it with yet.
Chad was wrong. Screw you, Chad.
I think Chad was right there. It's exactly what we do.
I think they work well together.
We hold on to it because of identity. We don't want to face what's underneath. There's this familiarity, there's safety in sticking to roles even after they've stopped giving meaning. We stick to them. We don't like change. We don't like discomfort. We don't like, especially identity. We don't like that taken away.
Well, that brings up the question that we talked about a little while ago is when do you leave and when do you lead? How do you identify, is this a role I want to save and what do I do in myself to get back to where I need to be? Or is this a role that no longer defines who I want to be and I'm going to put it aside? That's probably the big follow-up question. Do I leave or do I lead and actually step back into it?
Absolutely.
That's true. Identity is a big piece, hey?
Tough one. Well, that was man versus machine. All right, lads, you ready to get into the topic?
Do we have any time left?
Final thoughts on goal setting?
Do it. Righto, let's get into the topic. Okay. Well, to kick off the year, what better than to reevaluate the men we were and the men we want to become? How better to do that than to set some goals, hold ourselves accountable to them as we make this year our best year yet. Every new year sounds the same. Big talk, big plans, big promises, and a whole bunch of New Year's resolutions that by February become just dust collectors in the back of our busy and lazy brains. And yet, most men quietly drag those same habits, the same blind spots, and the same unfinished business straight into another year. So before we talk about goals, ambitions, and progress, I want to talk about something else, and that's honesty. What actually needs to be left behind? What patterns followed you into this year again? And are you chasing what genuinely matters or what just looks good on the outside? This episode isn't about resolutions, it's about ownership. Because no calendar date fixes a man. Only decisions followed by action does that. Whether you started this year with momentum or already feel left behind, this conversation is for you. So today, we're going to talk about reflection, the real goals, disciplines, mindset, and the role that mateship plays in becoming a man that others can rely on. Fellas, ready to get into it?
Let's do it. Sounds painful.
Righto. I'm not a goal setter. Actually, let's start off with that then. Actually, I want to kick off this question. When you compare who you were 12 months ago to the man sitting here today, do you feel that you've genuinely grown or have you just gotten better at managing your weakness?
It's the same thing, isn't it, Wayne?
This time last year, are you a better man for it or have you just learned to just manage the person you were?
I would say I'm working towards that this year. Like I'll go into a year and I'll set some goals, but they're fairly loose. I don't write them down like, a lot of other guys do. This year I actually sat down and wrote goals around my wife, my family, the business, growth and health. And I actually wrote down a few and I printed them out. They're on the computer. They're on next to my desk every morning. And that's off the back of trying to restructure the business, and I started it just for me, and it was the systems weren't where it needed to be to employ. So now I'm going 70 hours a week and then trying to work on the business and change everything. So now I'm like, if I'm going to do that now, I need to actually catch up and let's actually plan for 10 years and let's actually start setting some proper goals and doing that. Every other year I wouldn't have done that. So it's more of a recent thing over the last few months, but certainly for myself, it's, ask me in December, maybe I'll say no. Like it was the same as last year.
If you've never really done that, why the change this year?
It was because it's been so uncomfortable. I literally went into Christmas going, I'm just going to get through this and keep punching away. And I just realised there was so many things that I was doing that I didn't need to be doing because I hadn't done enough planning.
Yeah.
So I'm just reset. I'm trying to make myself better to deal with it, but also set things in place where I don't need to. So I suppose in a way I'm working on the weakness, but I'm also working on some growth as well. So
to some degree then you are a different man sitting here today than you were 12 months ago, because that 12 months ago man wouldn't have done what you just did.
Yes, true. And that today I've probably got another 5 kilos if I'm honest, but.
And you got more hair just on your back.
Yeah, look, my back is,
Chris, are you the same man 12 months ago?
I think managing your weaknesses is growth, right? You've realised that you have weaknesses that you need to work on. Like that's growing, right? You've got to realise where your weaknesses are and start putting in a plan, to be better. I've set myself some goal. Let's call them goals this year. But after reading that question, they are a little bit more of managing my weaknesses. They weren't like massive aspirational sort of goals. They were more like, fuck, what am I doing really bad? Like, what things aren't I happy with for how I'm going about my life? And most of my goals are set around that. Obviously, we'll talk about one of them. Like you guys know, I love to have a drink and sort of have a bit of a party. That's starting to bring me down, especially with my business and where we're heading with, where I want to go and where I'm taking that this year. I need a clear head. So that was a massive weakness of mine, just not having the control over when I go and drink, am I going to have 3 drinks or am I going to have fucking 15, you know? So for me, like that's a huge weakness of mine where my relationship with alcohol is bad. And that's just a habit I've created over a long time with, like I talked about before, with triggers. Like if I'm in a social environment, I'll have 1 drink, that in my brain will go, all right, let's have 30, you know? So that's a massive weakness of mine. So yeah, I've definitely made my goals more based around my weaknesses and not my strengths this year. So yeah, that's a good question.
Good, mate.
I think with
question.
in regards to this question, right? I think sometimes we think that every goal we set needs to be us advancing in something. I think sometimes a goal can be pulling back from something. Like, if I want to set out a goal, actually, one of my goals this year is to not be as big in this or to push forward. I think every goal needs to be assessed as a goal on where it's actually suiting your lifestyle, because someone's goal in business this year might be do half the amount of work, whereas someone's goal might we want to expand 100-fold. Like, I think the goal needs to be for an individual as to where you sit, because look, one of my goals this year, it's the same goal that I have every single freaking year, and it's, what are you laughing for?
Jelly babies.
Okay, so I've made some progress. I want to tell you a story, right? Went to Japan over Christmas, right? And this is where it hits home. But it hits home and does nothing until you actually put into action decisions you make, right? And this is where I'm getting to. Went to Japan over Christmas, and we're like, we did Disneyland, we did Disney Sea, we did Universal Studios, right? Anyway, we're in Disney. I think it's Disney Sea. They've got the Harry Potter ride. And we're like, because as a family going back, when Harry Potter was around years ago, we loved watching the whole series and saw the whole thing, loved it, right? So the Harry Potter ride, yeah, cool. Oh, we've done this ride before. Yeah, actually, this was a pretty good ride. Let's jump on it. Sit down. So you're on this moving conveyor belt. So you step on the conveyor belt, that starts moving already. You've got to run to your seat. And it's all facing forward. There's 4 seats, right? And you're all facing this way. You pull the thing down and click, and that takes you through this thing. Cool. Sit down. Doesn't click. And the lady runs over. Now we're getting to the end, so she runs over the conveyor belt and she's trying to click. Another person's trying to push it down, and it ain't going down, right?
Too much muscle.
So they stand. Yeah. Sir, stop doing bench presses. Your pectorals are huge. So they stand all 4 of us up now. So they're like click, 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 and I'm like, all 4 of us unclick. We run off, and this empty carriage goes, and 4,000-ish Japanese people are watching this Aussie family have to get off this ride, move to the side. So they've taken me to this back room, right? And they're like, can you take your jacket off? Yeah, you're right, it's the jacket. 100% the jacket. Jacket off. So they put my jacket, so I have this leather jacket with a hoodie thing, and they've gone, you can't put it anywhere, put it on your wife. So I'm also, okay, so at least let's put this huge jacket on. We get taken to the front of the ride again. The conveyor belt's going, yeah, cool, run over. Won't click.
Look, in your defence, and I hope this makes you feel better, I'm sure they designed those rides around Japanese people.
No.
And with the jacket, at least it's didn't close the people, right?
There's more to the story. Just wait. Hear me out. Won't click down. Samuel leans forward. He goes, Dad, we did this ride 2 years ago. Yeah, I know, son. I know.
Must have shrunk in the wash.
Yeah, the ride shrunk. And here's the thing: I have it sounds more and more like an excuse, but one of my goals this year, obviously, and it was just a daunting, hard hitting moment because I've done this ride before 2 years ago when I was 15, 20 kilos lighter, and here I was it was just embarrassing. It's literally standout embarrassing that here I am trying to lead my family, lead my own life, be an example, and when it comes to food, and there's just these triggers that just go, mate, you need more than just 3 burgers. You need 4. Of course I need 4. Why? Because I'm a man. And it gets me to where I am. And so one of my goals this year, I'm putting it on paper, is I'm breaking it down to 3-month sections on where I want my weight to be at a certain points. Because I think this is where we fail as goals with men. 1, we don't write them down, right? But 2, it's stupid to say, my goal this year is to lose weight. Well, if you're weighing 100 kilos and by the end of the year you're 99.9, you've succeeded your goal, because weight can be measured by anything. Like, I've losing 0.00 of a kilo is losing weight. Goals need to be written down in specific targeted sections, right? This is by whatever I want to be this amount, buy this. And I think that goal's right across anywhere. To sit down and go, I want my business to grow this year. Well, if you make $5 extra this year over the entire 12 months, well, you've reached a goal in reality because on paper, you're $5 ahead. But that's stupidity. To say your business wants to grow, you need to specifically write down, okay, by what? Are you talking percentages? Are you talking turnover? Are you talking company profit? To sit down and go, I want business to grow, that is not a goal. To sit down and go, last year we turned over $500,000. By July this year, I want to be around 600. So I want to be at 300 so that I can project to reach the end of the year, because at the end of the year, I want my turnover now to be 600. When you write those kind of goals down, they're specific, figured, numbered, written out goals. And I think this is where it throws a lot of men. What's your goal this year? Oh, mate, I'm hoping to... No. Don't confuse hope with a goal. What's your goal? Have hope, but hope's over this side. Hope for a better day tomorrow. But that's not a goal. And
They
I
need
think
to be realistic, though, right?
100%
you can't just go, I'm going to stop this forever and never do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's not realistic.
Yeah.
That's an emotional reaction.
So
to
how do
where you're
we... Let's go down that path. How does a man go from wishy-washy hope to a realistic goal? We've already mentioned writing it down. Writing down's without a doubt key. Whenever I've written down a goal, I don't even want to say this out loud because it becomes daunting. When you write down goals, you actually reach them because you see it every day, and it's like there's this accountability to it. But
Pamela Anderson.
from 91.
Yeah, not anymore. Actually, yeah.
Not
maybe
now, she is 91.
Yeah, no.
Not at 91. From the year
From 91.
Okay, how do we go then as men to go, be realistic? How do you get realistic goals out of your head onto paper, stick to them, and accomplish them? What does that look like?
Well, the structure's already been there for tons of years. SMART goals, right? So SMART, specific, measurable,
Attainable.
Attainable. They've got to be, I mean, Chris, you nailed it too. They've got to be achievable to go, I want to run a marathon in a month, right? But I've never run. Well, I'm only going to be open to failure, injury, everything's going to go horribly wrong. And then I go, I didn't get my goal. So it has to be a goal that it's a stretch, but it's still realistic in some capacity that you go, this will cause me to rise, and it's going to be a challenge, but I can get there if I change some things. So it's got to be specific enough. And as you said, you can't go, well, I want to be healthy this year. What does healthy look like? Well, I don't know. I just want to lose a bit of weight. How much weight? Well, I don't know. I just want to feel better. What does that actually mean? And so we keep them pretty vague. And I think we do that subconsciously because if we don't get it,
It's safe.
it's safe. And that's what Chad said earlier about being safe. But it's got to be specific enough because every goal is intentional. And I love that you said before, it doesn't have to be this massive goal. And you said before, Chris, like it wasn't, what's the word used before? Aspirational, right? But cutting drinking back to be a better man in your business and show up better, that's aspirational to me. So I think even how we reflect on those goals and realize what we're doing it for, we need to sit for long enough and say, why is this goal important? Because until we get that, we're not really going to put everything into it. It's not going to be a part of our lifestyle. A goal is going to be this abstract thing that was thrown at the distance. I want to run a marathon. Why? Well, I don't know. Everyone's doing it, and I think it'd be a cool achievement. What does that mean for you? Well, I don't know. Forget that. That's not a goal then.
Yeah, that's right.
That's some crazy, far-fetched idea that you think will make your life better. It's got to come back to where is this valuable in my life? And I think that's the starting point, and then you can start getting specific, getting measurable, making sure it's attainable, making sure it's realistic, and then time orientated. Like I've got a time frame I want to do it. The SMART process happens, I think, after we go, why is this actually important to me? And until you can align it to a value, don't even have it as a goal because you won't achieve it and it'll just make you depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The first step is finding the purpose behind it, the reason why you're gonna do it, because you're gonna have hard times, you're gonna have good times, but it's that purpose behind it that keeps you pushing even when it's hard.
You want to make running that marathon be a part of the overall goal, right? The overall goal is I want to be fitter, I want to be healthier, and I want to, exercise more. And then through all that, at the end of all that, and when I get to that point, I want to run a marathon, just as a reward for all the hard work you did right up to that point.
I think being able to, measurable, I think is 100% so important because if I stick to the weight thing again for a minute, right? If I said, by the end of the year I want to lose weight, okay, well, what do you weigh now? Not exactly sure. I think I said around, okay, I think one of the key things in setting goals for anything is know where your starting point is. Because right now I couldn't even tell you what my starting point is. Yeah. So I don't even know what I could measure against. I think knowing a starting point. So I think a lot of people are going to be in your situation, Chris. If people wanted to make a change in drinking habits this year, I reckon there's a lot of men out there very, very similar to that. Because I think December, January gives men a lot of men do some silly things over the Christmas break when it comes to excessive alcohol. I think a lot of men go, "Oh, this year's going to be changed." So I think knowing where you're at, if you know where you're at, you can then go, "Well, where do I want to be?" So I think for drinking, I would go, how often would I'm not saying this is you, but how, like, for a guy asking this question to himself, okay, well then how much do I drink? What's my starting point? Oh, well, mate, I come home, I have 3 beers a day. Okay, so that's 21 beers a week. So your goal this week should be 15 beers. Next month, your goal should be 10 beers for the week. Then your goal should be 5. So knowing your starting point, then putting it into, this is where I need to be. So I think for me, before I can even say, look, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, how much I want? What's my starting point? I don't even know what my starting point is at the moment. So
bring in the scales.
No, don't bring in 2 scales. But I'll tell you one change I did make, and it's massive, and I've stuck to it, and I've been in a situation. God, I think I've been just this. What's the date today? 24th. So what are we? 3 and a bit weeks into the year. I think I've had this situation confront me at least 10 times, and I haven't bailed yet because I've got a goal this year. And my goal this year is I will not have a lolly.
Wow.
And that is massive for me. For those that know me, I cannot go to a petrol station and fill my car up without grabbing a packet of snakes,
Gummy
packet
bears.
of gummy bears, packet of gummy bears, just a lolly of some sort. Now, I haven't taken out chocolate. I'm not a massive chocolate fan anyway, but lollies. And so we were in Japan and we've gone into a lolly shop, and Samuel already knew this goal. He's like, "Dad, come in." I'm like, "Mate, I'll come in, but I ain't staying long." And I think one of the things when you set a goal is setting your environment that suits your goal.
Yeah.
It's one thing for me to say, my goal this year is I will not have a lolly. Okay, if you're then going to go and sit amongst lolly stores,
Yeah.
your environment's going to be
100%.
Why put yourself there? But we've got this. I know where it is too because it's hidden.
It is still important though to over time overcome that urge. If you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're in that environment where you are susceptible to have a lolly or a beer or whatever, go to a pub, you can't just remove that from your life altogether. You need to just learn the discipline over time.
Yep.
Yes, early on, don't go to the lolly shops until you can try and recover and resist the urge and improve.
I think that's a good point, because with the drinking thing, that was like
We live in Australia. Like we go to the pub, we go with family for dinner. Like you can't just remove going to the pub from your life.
No, I get that.
You need to.
Well, yes, Australia does as well. So
Improve.
it's like literally a national day of drinking coming
Yeah.
up. So
You just need to improve your relationship with alcohol.
Yeah. And that was one thing that I had to do, because if I started, I just wouldn't stop. And I'd just keep going until, passed out sort of 4 o'clock in the morning sort of thing. So one of the goals was just to go to the pub and then actually have 3 beers and then that's it and stop. Because I used to go to Alex on a Sunday and watch live music. And, that would be like my social sort of setting, hang around mates and stuff like that as well too. But then you wake up Monday, starts off like week in a bad way. So literally that was a massive goal for me, just to go 3 beers and then stop for the rest of the time.
And that's how I've set out my year.
Yeah.
I subconsciously think to myself, I'm going to the pub, I'm only going to have 3 beers. And I tell myself that before I go. And that's what I've done. So I've so far this year, I haven't got pissed yet.
it's good, mate.
And I've stopped drinking during the week, because normally I'd have a glass of red. Like we love our wine, but I've just cut that out, and it's been quite easy. But it's the binge drinking part that's hard. So going into that in a situation where I'm going for dinner or I'm going somewhere with friends, I'm telling myself 3 drinks and that's it, and I'm slowly learning to do it.
It's funny.
But I'm not saying I'm never going to go and have a big night. They're going to be very few and far between now.
The whole 3 drink thing goal. It's been your goal to try and get me to have 3 drinks.
Yeah, and here I am. I'm like, he was right all along.
Chris, when I go, how many drinks? Just 2. Like, have a third. It's not in me. I'm just not a 3 drink guy.
I'm being realistic. Like, I know I'm going to go and have a big night at some point, and I'm okay with that because I enjoy that. But it doesn't need to be as frequent as it is.
I used to do that once a quarter. Give that to me. And then sometimes you wouldn't even do it. But I used to go, all right, once a quarter, I'm going to go let loose 4 times a year. So, yeah.
I think with going back to Japan, if I can set out, because for me, again, like the alcohol thing, it's never been the issue. Like to try and get to 3 beers has been a struggle for me. I have 2 and I'm like, I don't even, not good. Nah, thanks, don't even need the 3rd. But food, on the other hand, that's been my thorn in my side for years. But for the same thing, if I can set out a meal, I approach dinner, I approach lunch by going, you're about to walk in, you're about to order, do not go over this. But you put me in an all-you-can-eat. Dude, we went to Japan and they had those all-you-can-eat Wagyu things where you just keep ordering. And I remember I'm literally standing next to Lisa and it's like, she's like, why are you, is this for everybody? Huh? Oh, sorry. I mean, we can order for everybody if you like. Because you order from this window and they bring it over and you've got that big cooking thing in front and you just keep throwing the food on it. And that's
the cow.
So my goal.
Text me, he goes, I'm at an all I can eat. And I sent him the meme with Homer getting dragged.
That's what I was thinking about. Just, we're out of shrimp.
Yeah.
Look, big man, you eat everything.
But Chris and I, we've had this conversation so many times. Let's come to this, like, because Chris has been a fit ass dude from the day I met him, and when it comes to training and eating, disciplined through the roof. And I've always looked at it and gone, like, literally to come to this recording today. We said we're recording at 6:30. He was going to his Revel, which is like a F45/gym, and he had to cancel it to come here, right? I know you do, there's sometimes too, Jamie, but I've never been that guy. But I have been that guy with alcohol. I've never been you want to come to the pub for a drink? Yeah, I'll come. Let's set a goal. I don't even need to set a goal, mate. I'll have 2 beers and I literally have no problem drawing the line. But switch it, because Chris has always been like, come on, man, like you're getting fat. Like, you're fat. Stop it, you're fat. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I have that same trigger on food that you have, and everyone has the same, like a similar trigger to something. And it's one thing to not use the word judge, but you look at the other person going, come on, man, like, put the drink down. He's like, put the donut down.
You never said that to me. I always saw you call you fat, but you'd never say, oi, mate, stop drinking alcohol, mate.
Yeah, you always mean to me when you're drunk.
You did say it. Just by the time you sobered up, you didn't remember it.
Yeah. I did tell you 19 times a night.
I was holding your hair.
I was holding your hair over the toilet. Stop it, Chris. All right, so what is your goal this year then when it comes to alcohol? Like, not, I want to drink less. What's your actual goal? Figuratively written down. By a certain day, what's the actual goal?
It's just to repair my relationship with it. Like, at the moment, it's a very bad relationship.
Okay, so by the end of the year, how will you reflect if you've done that? Like, what's your how would you know if it's repaired?
Well, I want to have the control back. So when I'm going to the pub or when I'm going to a gathering or whatever, everyone else is getting lit up. I'm just going to stop where I feel comfortable and I know that I'm not going to wake up the next day and go, fucking hell.
So,
and then go to work that next week just foggy, not on top of my, not my best version of myself. Like, I need to be fucking going.
So should you then put a goal on the amount of, like, literally my goal is 4 a night, that's it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
4?
Yeah. But no, like, if there's a certain occasion that I do want to let loose, then give myself the freedom to do that and deal with the consequences.
Yeah, I think if it's intentional and you know that it's a plan
to
have some of those nights, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's intentional and you can still stick with the plan, knowing that it's not reactive, it's not out of control. You didn't go, how did I get here again? As soon as you ask yourself that question, you know you've just blown it. But if it's intentional, you go, tonight is the night I've allocated to go all in, there's nothing wrong with that if it's part of the plan, knowing it's intentional all the way through. I think the question to ask is our goals actually serving us and those around us? Because I remember like thinking, drinking is an interesting one because there's different opinions on it. But I remember hearing someone say that, if drinking causes a problem, and replace drinking with anything, if food causes a problem, then you've got a food problem. If drinking causes a problem somewhere in your life, you have a drinking problem. But we associate it like, oh, I'm not like crazy alcoholic and it's just my whole life's a write-off. If something in our life is causing a problem, then it's a something problem, right? And the ownership piece there is hard because we go, I don't really have a problem. We justify everything. But if it caused a problem, for me in my life, nothing crazy, but just TV. Last year was just full on year, and I just found myself watching TV 4 or 5 hours a night, just zoning out, right? But it was causing a problem in my life. I got a TV problem. Again, that doesn't sound extreme, but for me, it was destroying a whole lot of stuff: fitness, attitude, mental health, relationships. And I went, I've got to cut that out. So I've just literally limited it to one night a week, like for 2 hours, and then moving on with my kids on a Friday. That's it. It's changed my whole world this year, just cutting out something because I went, I've acknowledged it's caused a problem. Let's set some goals around it.
I think goals are a good thing, but normally, with the food, with the alcohol, especially for me, there's something behind that is causing you to do that. That's like a coping mechanism a lot of the time. Like this year, my main goal is that on finances and to have buy the house by the end of the year sort of thing. And I came to that realization because of there was triggers in the past that actually stopped me from going, people who just care about money, they're horrible people and they do horrible things to people, or they don't care about how they affect other people, and et cetera, et cetera. Do you know what I mean? So, but actually coming to that realization and working through that actually has helped me overcome and work towards this goal where I go, that is actually money doesn't make people bad. It just sort of amplifies the person that they are. So, but coming to those types of realizations also can help, you have that sort of fortitude to push through and make sure that you achieve those goals as well too.
You want to buy a house by the end of this year?
Yep.
Do you know what figures in your head for what the house is going to be worth?
Purchasing, it's going to have to be probably $1 million, I reckon.
So you'd need a minimum of 10% deposit, yeah?
5%. I can do, but
which will be 50 grand. Closing costs and everything's what, Chris? So another 20-ish. What's the
stamp duties?
So another 24
grand,
and on top of the 50. So you're looking at 130,000. So 130,000, and we're already 1 month in, so you've got 11 months left. So let's just say you want to buy it before Christmas. So take another month off, so you get 10 months. That's 13 grand a month that you're going to have. That's
a lot of lollies.
Three and a bit thousand a week.
Not achievable. Well, between me and Anna and her mother, then yes, that's achievable.
So this is what I'm saying. This is what I want. This is why I want to break down goals today.
Is that what that ski mask was for?
No, because if we're saying, no, this is by the end of the year, when you bring it back, it seems unachievable though, doesn't it? But it's not unachievable.
Yeah.
It's just now
where
the goals, now it's written out.
Yeah. And that's where the work begins to find strategies of how this is actually doable.
That's right. So it's not a matter of it can't, it's a matter of how. How do you get that?
Yeah. Well, the budget's already done. 6 days a week starting work has already started. And we've got a few business things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So all right. So then your goal is 13 grand a month.
What I will say though, if you fail every month and you only get 10, you are still in such a better position than you were.
100%.
So even just the act of, even if you set a goal that's a little bit out of reach or seems out of reach, touch and go, as long as you keep aiming for it, mate, you're going to be way ahead.
So this is brought about a good question regarding goals then. If you've broken that down and you go, hang on a minute, actually 10 months, 13 grand, this is actually literally, it's not achievable. If you get to the point in your head where you go, I can't reach my goal, do you then extend the amount of time and go, okay, I'm going to give it 2 years? Or do you bring the price bracket down? Like when a man sets a goal and he puts it on paper and goes, hang on, this literally can't be achieved, how does he adjust it? Because you've got a lot of options to adjust. Bring in another business, extend the amount of time given yourself, bring your budget back. You can make buying a house a goal, but it looks like the $1 million won't be the goal. So maybe when we set goals, do we go, okay, if it's not achievable, if we've come to the conclusion that I can't achieve that, how do we adjust? What way do we go? Extend the time, bring the bracket.
I love that. Go back to that. I just to preface that is most people don't adjust; they abandon. This is what I found in my because I work with goals all the time.
That's a good point.
And most people go because get to that point and that realization I saw it in your face, like, oh crap, 13, that's 3.5 for a week. Oh, most people go, oh, stuff it. I'll just stick with what I'm doing, and they abandon it completely instead of doing Mikey's route to go. Well, I'm going to aim for something big, and if I get to 70% of it, I'm still in a way better place. Most people go, oh, and they give up everything else to go, what can I change or adjust? Like it might not be the mill, but it might be a 2-bedroom apartment to get me in the market and I can rent it out and we can start that process. You adjust the goals, you work towards it, and maybe in 2 years you've got your $1 million house. Most people go, ugh, that's too hard.
That's right.
Yeah, mate.
And then in 20 years they go, oh, I've got the price of regret is way harder than the price of goal setting. I can tell you that now.
But none of that comes to the surface unless you break it down like goals should be broken down.
Because otherwise it gets transferred to the next year. Oh, look, I didn't do it this year. Well, how far did you get? Well, I didn't buy it. What did you save? Oh, nothing really. But next year, getting my $1 million house. 3 years later, have you got it? Nah, but next year. We just keep transferring it over, like we move it forward for that reason, because we don't break it down enough to go, well, this is measurable goals. I set this, I got that. Now I know how to adjust. We just keep pushing it forward. And the idea of having that goal suffices enough for most people than actually achieving it. Like even moving to Queensland, people go, oh, bro, I've always wanted to do that. Why didn't you? I don't know. It's too hard.
The people.
It's too hard. Well, how did you do it? Mate, I just broke it down. This is how we did it. In 6 months, we did it. They're like, oh, yeah, no, that's a lot of work. It's too hard. Have you thought about it? Nah. That's not a goal, then, is it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a dream that's you're not chasing.
Remember when we had Jimmy Judge on last year, the competitive food eater, right? Oh. And I remember because you watch him do some videos and you see this thing come out like a massive, they bought this kebab and you go, mate, there is no way you're going to fit that in. It's true. If you open your mouth and lift it up, you're not going to fit it in. But you fit it in by breaking it down into either biting it or, because I remember asking him this question, like how do you get through something when that's your goal to demolish that? How do you get through it? And see, for me, I just put all my morals to the side. I don't care what anyone says. No. But
shame is my friend.
Yeah, but when you break down, it's one thing, one bite at a time. I don't think that's how men reach goals, one bite at a time. I think you break down, let's just say it's a massive burger. How do you get through a 4-kilo burger, right? And I asked him this question and he said he pulls apart the hot things first to allow them to cool. Focuses on the stuff he can eat faster because the stuff you eat faster doesn't fill your guts as quick. Then you go the heavier stuff, then you come back to this and you go, when you break it down like that, that is so smart because he said he's been in places before where they've handed him bunches of food and he's going, oh, it's so hot. And then you sit there waiting for it to cool.
Yeah.
He did a pie competition once where he was biting the pies. He's like, these are too hot. So then the way he broke it down, he pulled the lids off, pulled the meat out, smeared the meat, allowed that to cool down, focus on the thing, and then came, and you go, well, if your goal was to eat these pies, you took a bite and gone too hot, you sit back and go, wait for them to cool. Or you go, break everything down and literally made his goal achievable by just applying different wisdom. So I think when you set a goal as a bloke, I think sometimes, I want to eat that burger. Well, you can't. Well, you can't if you go for one bite. Yeah, you can't if you do it for 50 bites either. Okay, but what do? Break this down, put hot things here, heavy things here, lighter things here. Like literally things are achievable when you dismantle it and go, yeah, you're right. Like I literally am setting a weight loss goal this year, right? But one thing I've learned about weight, if I sit back and go, look, I want to lose 30 kilos in a year, it's stupid to go 1/3 of the year, 10 kilos, the second third of the year, another 10, and then by the third, another 10. What I've learned about weight is the first 10% of your body fat goes like that because it's not fat, it's water's letting go. So I'm going to aim for 15 kilos by a certain day because I know the last trickle is the nitty gritty, the putting in the effort, the actual going for it. So
what was the day?
The day that I'm setting for, I actually haven't given it a date. In my head, Christmas is the day. I kind of go.
What did you say? 15 kilos for one?
15 by.
No, this is how. So I've actually ordered to say that. I've actually ordered an online diary, and when it gets here, I'm going to put this in. But that's how I will be doing it. So I've not written it out yet in regards to on paper, but I will be. I think it arrives Tuesday, but I will be doing it that way, breaking it down into how I've learnt things can be achievable. And I think that's what men need to do. When you're setting goals, how do you achieve it?
One of the huge things that people also like that overwhelming feeling. You hold a 4 kilo burger and you go, I don't even know where to start. It's so overwhelming. You just put it down. You don't even think you can do it. I made the cardinal sin the other day because I've set some goals for myself. 18% body fat. That's realistic for me to get to. 15 is not achievable with my lifestyle, and I do want to have some quality of life. I remember having a mate who carried an esky everywhere he went, even weddings, with measured tuna, brown rice.
That was Dave.
Well, I didn't want to name him, but yeah love Dave. Bloody legend. Everywhere he went, for a year, he carried an esky and a guitar because he wanted to learn guitar. And like literally, we were at a wedding, and he's saying no to the food, and he pulls out his esky. And I'm like, he's in a suit and an esky at a wedding. I'm like, what are you doing? He was extreme about, but he got his goals. I went, well, I don't want to probably go that far. But 2 weeks into my goal for the year, I measured myself at the gym and went, I put all this work in for 2 weeks. I've seen no results. Cardinal sin. I'm like, what am I worried about an outcome for and measuring myself against that? Instead, I've put the process in place. And this is the thing. I've got a specific goal. I've measured back what I need to do to get there. The goal now is the process each week and commitment, not keep checking if I'm getting there. Because I know with careful planning, that process will get me to my goal. So I don't have to worry about the outcome so much now. I'm worried about the process. And as you said, Chris, like making that a habit in my life. Because the thing is, once I get to that 18%, I also want to stay at 18% and not go, I made it. And now I'm back at 36% because I hit my goal and now it's not a part of my life anymore. So embedding goals is not just about a measurable outcome. It's got to have meaning, but also it's got to be a part of generally what we're doing in our life, such day-to-day habits, and not this big push for a crazy goal. And that's been a part of my journey, but it's so easy to go back. And after 2 weeks, I'm like, what was I expecting that was going to change in 2 weeks? And I was like, oh man, this is a waste of time. And I'm a goal setter, and I fell into that trap so easy and went, you know what? I am on the right track. Stop trying to measure every 10 seconds to see if it's working. Just trust that the process is getting me to the goals I've set because it is measured. I've thought it through. I've actually got a plan in place. Just trust the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you said there was with Jimmy about actually the pies were too hot. Another important part is actually problem solving, because sometimes something's going to come up where, you know, last year one of my goals was really sort of health related, but then I did my knee halfway through the year, you know, so therefore I have to change my whole process where, you know, running's out, sort of a lot of the cardio sort of stuff is out where, and I can't lunge, can't do that sort of stuff as much anymore. So I think that there's going to be challenges that come up and you've got to have that mindset of I'm going to actually problem solve around that and work out other things around there too. So
I think too, when you are setting goals, how do you know it's achievable? Like if I said, this year I want to double my amount of business. Well, how do you, actually, no, don't say double. If I said, I want to make $1 million this year in business, how do you know $1 million is achievable or not achievable? I think when it comes down to goals, you need to look at what has been achievable in the past, because setting a goal to go, this is what I want to do. Because I know, Chrisso, you were talking about with your business this year, and I've seen some of the projections on where you're going and stuff. For a businessman out there, how do you think he goes, instead of saying, I just want the business to grow, that's not a goal. To say, I want to go from a turnover of 3 million to 4 million. How does a goal, because that's a 25% increase. How does a business goal get implemented, do you think? That's
reverse
measurable.
engineer it, wouldn't you? Like that's what I did with some of my goals was
100%.
I wanted to reduce
What we just did with the homework thing, reverse engineer it.
Just reverse engineer it. And that's how I came up with half of my goals for the year, was just brought them back to certain habits that I knew I had to do. So I just put down, you need to watch, 2 of these learning modules on the software you're doing. You need to do this book every month. You need to, and that was how I broke it down, was just keep
There's a
going
really good book
backwards
as well.
and-
Atomic Habits is a great one. 10x over 2x. The theory behind that is, if you make some small changes, I might 2x what I'm doing. I might double what I'm doing. But if I want to 10x what I'm doing and go extreme, you can't do what you're doing now with greater capacity and get to 10x. You've got to put that down and rethink what's the strategy to get to that? And you've got to abandon the thinking that you've had that got you to here to reset new thinking to get to a 10x level, right? So that's the basic premise of the book. And it's interesting because that's the unsafe part, that's the risk part, but it's about changing your mindset completely to not, how do I just improve a little bit what I'm doing? Because most people go, all right, I want to make more money, I'll work more hours, right? That's the 2x version. I'll work more hours, time for money, I'll increase a little bit, and that's the best I can do. 10x is saying, well, okay, if I change it completely, maybe I might start a new business or do something else that's going to dramatically increase that chance, but it can't be just putting more volume into what I'm doing. I've got to put that down and start again. And so it changes your mindset. And we talked about neuro pathways and things like that. It's actually about getting into a place where you go, all right, let's put myself in a 10x moment. What does that look like to be there? And reverse engineering from that. So the reverse engineering is absolutely spot on. But what are we reverse engineering? If it's a 10x model and go, okay, look, what does it look like for me to have what's my life look like in a week having $1 million business? Let's reverse engineer that rather than saying, how do I just times what I'm doing now by 1 billion and burning myself out to try and get there?
Yep.
And it's a really great book, but it's a challenging book because it makes you shift every paradigm and going, oh, I'm not thinking big enough. So it's that, I love that question is what's achievable? It depends on the person and it depends on how much we're willing to change our mindset to work towards stuff. And the example he gives in the book, the writer, he says his son played competitive baseball and he got a coach to be at like regional level baseball. And the guy's like, his regional coach said, what do you want to achieve? And he said, I want to, play professional level, I want to play major league and I want to be in the Olympics. And he goes, oh, I can't be your coach because I can coach you to a regional level and things I put in place will not get you at that rate. It will take you 40 years to be in the Olympics. He said, I'm not coaching you for the Olympics, I'm coaching you for regionals. You need an Olympic coach. And so he changed his coaching, and I think 5 years later, he played in the Olympics.
That's
he said,
incredible.
I could not get you to where you want to be because I'm a coach from a regional perspective, and I'll coach you at a regional perspective. He said, you need a different coach, different mindset, different skills.
So you apply that into the life of goal setting then as men.
Yes.
We need to have things ahead of us when it comes to the goal setting, but also like things ahead of us in regards to not so much coaches, because coaches come down to relationship. There's a relationship between you and the coach, but maybe...
Well, a good coach will challenge your thinking.
But things ahead of us, like not idols, but people we admire that are doing things that we want to do, mirroring their life, mirroring their actions to go, no, well, I want to be, one of my goals is to, be whatever. That guy there's got it in his business, in his family. And I'm going to mirror this part of what he's doing. So in other words, without him being your coach, but you're allowing him to coach you.
Yeah.
So maybe then with goal setting, then it's about you as a man becoming teachable.
Oh, it has to be, yeah. Because you've got to be willing just to break down and abandon things that maybe carried you to the point where you're at.
Yeah.
And we look at what we did to get there and go, I need to just do more of that, And sometimes it's a matter of going, okay, I'm in a new playing field now. I have to abandon all those things and recalibrate thinking to where I want to be, not just maximizing where I have been and hope I get to where I am. They're different planes of thinking. Like you talk to a millionaire, you talk to a guy who runs $1 million business, right? His thinking compared to an solo entrepreneur who's running 10 grand a month, right? Different thinking, different strategy, different everything. You talk to a guy running $1 billion business, completely different again. Not wrong for where they are, but the thinking of $100,000 a year business can't function $1 million a year business. $1 million a year business thinking can't function a $1 billion business. It's not wrong, but if you don't change your thinking, you can't get to those next levels. Is it wrong to think you can go from 100 to 1 million to 1 billion? Absolutely not. That's how a billionaire got there. But they're willing to abandon things and say, all right, this no longer serves where I want to go. What's the thinking getting me to where I want to be? And that's when we talk about food habits, we talk about exercise, physiology, we talk about relationships, everything. It's like, what got me here? Where do I want to be? Will that serve me there? No. Well, I've got to reassess some things. I've got to change some mindsets. I've got to change how I'm approaching this because what got me here won't get me there. That's the hard piece. That's the bit that takes time. Processing with someone and working that stuff out. But there has to be a mindset shift if you want to shift into a bigger reality, not just go, well, that's unachievable. It's saying, okay, let's say, Jamie, you're a great example. Let's just put that in and go, okay, well, I want, at the end of the year, I've got to save 130,000. The way you're running it might now not be achievable, may not be achievable, right? So instead of going, well, it's not achievable, go, well, what do I need to change in my life to make that achievable? It might be a complete huge pivot and a risk, Unachievable would be, I need $1 million by the end of the year, right? Unachievable, unless you want to delve into some pretty dark stuff, which in that case, call Mike on 0403. But you know what I mean? But 130,000 stretch, yes. Achievable, yes. But you can't do it the way you're doing it. Because you went, oh, mate, now I'm starting 6 days a week. What are you sacrificing now then? Potentially health, potentially sleep, potentially relationships, potentially time with kids, everything. That all now comes at a cost at this absolute gun rate to get one goal. You've just screwed your quality of life. You've screwed other things that are important to you to get one goal. So it's about changing, maybe I think differently about what the 130,000 looks like. It might not be on the path I'm on now. I might have to swap paths completely. That's the big part. That's the risky part. But that's the thinking part.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I want to do because we're going to wrap it up very soon. Let's put out 2 goals, your 2 main ones. You might have 5 goals written out. You might only have whatever. Let's put out 2 goals to each other, and by our last episode of the year, we'll come back and we literally will hold each other accountable to those goals that we set. Realistic goals written out, not, oh, do this more, do this less. No. Figuratively. Like, what is it on paper that you want to do? We'll write it down. Send it to me. Actually, this would be a good thing too for guys that are listening. If you've got goals, send them in to us, and by the end of the year, we'll hold you accountable to them too. Let's get some goals out there that are going to be
that's
pushing.
Pretty cool, I think, too. Like having someone hold you accountable to your goals and not just yourself is a huge difference, because you don't want to let people down.
We did it quite well for a few weeks there, where I knew I was getting a message every day, and I'm like, I don't know how to. I don't want this message to come through. The first one's because you're driven by the excitement of, like, the whole New Year's resolution. Everyone joins the gym in January. It's like, you buy yourself a new towel and a new water bottle because you think by 3 weeks, the excitement's gone. You're not there. You don't want that accountability anymore. You don't want to get out of bed early. You don't want to.
Your towel's just wiping the sugar off your face after the donuts.
it's now
it's in the car.
Oh, God. So this is what we're going to do. Everyone send in 2 goals. Send them to me. I'll put it into the group chat, and those goals are what we are literally hold each other accountable to them. By next year, this is what our goals are going to be. Realistic, not do this more, do this less. No. Put it. If your goal's a business one, dollar figure, turnover, dollar figure. This is what I want to be doing. If it's weight, this. If it's more time with your kids, what does that mean? 3 phone calls a week and 1 visit. Don't write, more time with family. Write down what that means. 3 movies a week and a lunch with my daughter. Be specific. One last question before we wrap it up. If nothing actually changed for you this year and life just kept rolling on exactly how it is now, who do you think will feel the effect the most?
Right now, it would be me. If nothing changed for me, if I left today, I would feel it the most. It would roll on to my wife and kids, but I'd be feeling it the most straight off the bat.
Jamie, who would feel it the most if you were the same man in 12 months' time?
Probably what Mikie said, but no. Part of that thing, though, is that I think that we forget how good we're actually operating at the moment as well, too. So, but yeah, it would have been me because I didn't achieve the goals that we set out.
Yeah, my wife and kids.
Chrisso?
I'm going to say my business partner, Beck. She needs me at 100%, and I'm not at 100%.
For me, I'm going to put Lisa first. I think Lisa would feel it the most because of what my goals are. It's not affecting our relationship by any means, but there's a lot of questions. A lot of you should look after yourself a bit more. There's a lot of
I'm with you because if I don't make the adjustment, someone has to, and it ends up being Lisa and the kids, and they happily do it, but they shouldn't have to because I'm too lazy to adjust myself. And I'm not willing to live with the fact that they have to compromise things because I want them to be comfortable.
I'm literally, it's going to sound embarrassing, I'm getting too heavy to go on top. That's how heavy I'm getting.
Well, stop sleeping in bunk beds.
No, that's how it is.
Oh, that's what you meant. Oh,
That's legitimately where it's at on the table. That's what's happening.
So that one of
Sounds
your
like a
main
magic
goals.
excuse.
Sorry, honey, get off me. Not tonight. No, that's me. But so for me,
Is it the jacket? I can take the jacket off.
That's the jacket, honey.
jacket.
You put it on again. Oh, that's great. No, but hey, look this way. Hey, we say this is an episode. We say this is a podcast with none of the BS. That's just me putting it out there. This is how much it's legit. You just go. These are my goals. This is where I'm going. Who's going to affect the most? For me, I know it affects me, but it does affect my family. It does. When you go on a ride and your kids look at you, not in disappointment over, but just more like, oh, Dad, you can't fit on a ride. You did 2 years ago this exact ride, you know.
My final thought to people is don't be the only one who knows your goals.
Yeah, because that's where accountability comes in, yeah. And your circle of mateship with support is massive.
Yeah. And if you have to change that circle to reach your goals, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, half of my goals involve the help of other people.
Yeah, you got to use your surroundings.
Yeah, can you stop asking?
Yeah.
I can't keep giving you money to get you to the
My goal is to get more wristies this year.
We're all going to buy a house this year, but Wayne's going to go bankrupt.
Oh, classic.
But yeah, if you're the only one holding on to them, there's no accountability, and that's
Absolutely.
a huge part of it. So
Yep.
That's really, really good, fellas. Well, thanks for joining us again. Well, guys, look, as we close this conversation, I want to come back to that question, that if nothing changed this year, who would pay the price for it? Your partner, your kids, your mates, your future self, or maybe all of them. Starting fresh isn't about motivation or hype. It's about honesty. It's about recognizing what needs to stop, what needs to change, and what needs to be owned by us as men. Goals don't mean much if your habits don't support them. Vision doesn't matter if your mindset keeps pulling you backwards, and growth doesn't last if you try to do it alone. So today, not tomorrow, not next week, ask yourself this: what am I holding on to that needs to be released? What does responsibility actually look like in my life right now? And what's one action I can take today that proves that you're serious? This new year, it's not a reset button, it's a mirror. And the man looking back at you is your responsibility. So fellas, thanks for joining us again for the very first episode 2026. Kicking off, goals, thanks for joining us. Really good.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
boys.
Looking forward to the hate mail after.
See you guys.